back, everybody, to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin, and today's act is Act 60. Megumi's feelings, Kaoru's feelings. This was a tense chapter. You can really understand both of these characters' feelings. You can understand why Kaoru is feeling the way that she's feeling. And you can also understand Megumi's feelings, and she does a really good job of showcasing what she's feeling without directly saying it. But I think that the truest feelings displayed in this chapter are Tai's feelings after Kaoru insulted her masterpieces. She is a true woman of character for continuing to try and help Kaoru feel better despite the insult that Kaoru did to her. Oh, Tai, you're a class act, lady. You're a class act. Tai and Tsubame are trying to cheer up the heartbroken Kaoru, but to no avail. Megumi runs into Yahiko, wondering why he's still in Tokyo, assuming that they'd be on their way to Kyoto by now. Yahiko fills her in, and Megumi goes straight to Kaoru. The two argue about why neither of them go to Kyoto themselves. Megumi argues that her duties as a doctor is a way of honoring Kenshin since he helped put her on that road. And Kaoru argues that it hurts too much remembering Kenshin's parting words. Megumi asks if she can understand knowing he left without bothering to say goodbye to her, and as Megumi leaves in tears, Yahiko comes in to give the final push to Kaoru to go to Kyoto. Sometime later, Megumi is now taking care of the dojo, and while the others are away, she finds Aoshi Shinomori inside looking for Kenshin. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off by talking about Kaoru, because we kind of hit the pause button with her, and we started focusing on the other characters after Kenshin left to Kyoto. But here we are with her, and she's sulking, she's completely devastated. Her nightmare actually kind of came true. Her biggest fears came to fruition, that Kenshin would leave. And we can understand why she's feeling this way, because she was all alone before Kenshin. Her meeting Kenshin is how the Kenshin Gumi really kind of formed. It was through Kenshin that Yahiko came to the Kamiya dojo after everybody had abandoned her. Sanosuke's kind of a freeloader. But, you know, he's a tag-along because of Kenshin too. He's there to witness Kenshin be who he says that he is. But it really is just, though, that she's really become fond of Kenshin, and it's clear that there's a blooming or a budding romance between the two, even if it's a lot more subtle and it's not gonna outright say it for us, but we can see that she clearly loves Kenshin and Kenshin clearly loves her, since as we mentioned in this chapter that Kenshin only said goodbye to Kaoru. And so it's not hard to see why Kaoru is devastated the way that she is. But it's also frustrating to see Kaoru like this, because we all know what she should be doing. Right now, literally as I'm recording, I just realized that this is going to be something that we're going to see from Kenshin way later down the line. I cannot even begin to say it right now, because of those of you who read Jinchu, you guys know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, go read Jinchu. Our heroine here, just she's down. She needs that, kick in the butt to get her up into gear and go do what she should be doing, and getting her man back. She needs to go get Kenshin, and that's the whole point of this chapter. But Megumi is really a lot more subtle about it. But Yahiko is the one that kind of just lays it on thick for the audience. If you weren't picking up what Megumi was putting down, Yahiko just kind of spells it out for everybody. Kenshin only said goodbye to you. That means that it was hardest to leave you behind, and therefore you are the only one that can bring Kenshin back. So by Kaoru going to Kyoto and seeing Kenshin, it's her way, it's the best way to tell Kenshin, don't be a wanderer, you have a home here, come home when you're done with all of this. It's gonna be Kaoru and Yahiko's motivation for going to Kyoto. That's the reason that they're going on their trip. Sanosuke is going on his trip to prove to Kenshin that he's an asset, that he's not weak, that he's not a weakling. And so, like, I think it's great. I think it's great storytelling. It like, they're not just following Kenshin, they have legitimate motivations for following him to Kyoto. They're not just tag-alongs. They're not just baggage that he carries. Like, well, this is my family now. They come everywhere with me. And like, it's not that. Like, everybody has a purpose for going there. So, let's go ahead and talk about Megumi's feelings. Megumi is really the heart of this chapter because we get to see her in a way that I don't think we've quite seen her yet up until this point in the story. We got to see her being vulnerable. And I mean, sure, we've seen her being vulnerable before, but we see her being vulnerable while also taking on a role that she does not want to play. And in this instance, she's kind of become the onechan, or the older sibling to Kaoru, telling her exactly what she should be doing instead of what she's actually doing. And for Megumi, this cannot be easy because she sees Kaoru as a rival towards Kenshin's affection. She knows that Kenshin loves Kaoru, or has feelings for Kaoru, that Kenshin does not have for her. And Kenshin leaving with only saying goodbye to Kaoru and not saying it to Megumi is the confirmation that she needed. So she kind of steps up in her way and says, okay, well, if I'm not going to be if I'm not the one that Kenshin has eyes for, I need to make sure that the person that Kenshin does have eyes for does what she needs to do and get him back here. She's going about her way of honoring Kenshin and trying to atone for her past the best way that she knows how, and that's by being a doctor and practicing medicine, and especially since he's the one that got her on that road. But Kaoru needs to be the one that goes and gets him, because this was all the confirmation that she needed, that's who Kenshin has eyes for. It's a very vulnerable way of showing Megumi. It couldn't have been easy for her to have to step up and talk some sense into this person who is basically insulting her by wallowing in her misery. But things that are worth doing don't usually come easily, and I just like that Megumi stepped up in this instance, and it's, I think, the best way to show Megumi, because she's always been kind of a little bit I guess, like, she's a fun character when she's fun, when she's playing up the fox role, and there's a little bit of that here in this chapter. But also, I mean, she can be a little bit over dramatic when they're talking to Okubo and the police commissioner or director, I think, about Shishio, and they bring up her being an opium peddler. She was just like, oh, well, I'll die. And then she tried to kill herself during the Conry stuff. But like here, I mean, she's choosing life and being the martyr type. I don't know, I just prefer that. And finally, just to mention Aoshi. Aoshi's in this chapter. I completely forgot about him. I mean, I know that he's an integral role to the Kyoto story, but I completely forgot that he would be in this chapter. I was just like, oh, Aoshi. Yeah, so I like this. I like this a lot because it just all the little seeds that were planted in the Tokyo arc are kind of really coming back. We saw a little bit with Jine and Saito, and now we're seeing it with the Oniwaban and Aoshi. I just like that there's natural story progression. Things that were started in the beginning are somehow making their way into the second story, and I like that. I like that a lot. Now, let's see where everything goes from here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Act 60 of The Wandering Samurai Study. If you like this video and you want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a thumbs up and comment down below something that you enjoyed about this chapter. What do you think about the dynamic between Megumi and Kaoru? What do you think about Megumi knowing her or realizing her place in Kenshin's eyes and having to accept that she is the second to Kaoru being the first, and you know, the rivalry that these two women have for Kenshin's affection. I don't really understand where the Sanosuke and Megumi ship happened or where it really starts. I'm gonna keep an eye out for it, but I mean, it's very clear Megumi likes Kenshin, and here's where it really kind of comes into play. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll see you guys in the comment section down below, and share this video out to anybody who you think might like it. Bye, chat. Or being the modern type.